post somewhere that I can't pronounce the name of, so I'm not going to try. There we go. Nanagan?
The noggin. Don't worry, you're not the only one who gets it wrong. Everybody struggles with it. It's kind of difficult.
Okay, so I always start off my interviews with something silly, just as an icebreaker, even though we had an icebreaker before. But if you could choose to be any animal in the world, what animal would you be?
Sharks, just because I love sharks.
Several?
Pardon?
Several sharks? You said sharks.
Okay, I guess I would be a shark. But I love sharks. They're great. They're so cool. They're so misunderstood. And that's probably as close as I could get to being an immortal mermaid. Jesus, if I can talk today.
So an immortal mermaid. So
sharks are really hard to kill. They're super hardy animals. Like, they literally, you can shoot one in the head with a spear gun, and like a week later, they've popped the thing out. I'm like, yeah, we're fine. Keep going.
That's crazy. Yeah. I live in Saskatchewan where there's no sharks here. There's sleuth sharks and bar sharks, but that's it. Anyway, so I'm glad you didn't get that joke too well. Anyway, you are, there was a little bit, we alluded to a little bit, you are a fantasy author, which amazes me because fantasy is one of the few things that I actually care about in life other than my family. Fantasy books got me through some of the worst times in my life, the Forgotten Realms series, the Dragonlance series, and that stuff amazes me. So what is your book all about?
So my book kind of started off as a mishmash of a bunch of different stories from different authors and bedtime stories to myself, and then kind of mashed it all together. So essentially what it is, it's about this young woman named Keegan, who is from our world, the world of plain boring, no magic. And she gets transported to a world where there is magic. And she's suddenly discovering, oh, I have magic powers and I'm supposed to save it. And there's a really evil king who is trying to kill me and everybody wants to use me. And so it's about her trying to survive pretty much and just not get pulled in 15 different directions. And it's about how she sets off kind of a chain of events that's been prophesized and just all the chaos that ensues.
That makes perfect sense. You know, the beauty of fantasy is it lets us go out into the world and do stuff in our own minds, at least, that we didn't think we could do. So when you look at the writing process, I'm not sure if you know about who Joseph Campbell is, but he basically tells the story. Every hero has a journey, and it's basically the same journey for everything. The writing process for you, what is it? How do you decide how to become a writer and do what you do? Because you're brand new at this as far as publishing goes, but how did you go about the process of writing?
So again, it all kind of started as bedtime stories to myself, and eventually it came to the point of, this would be really cool to write down. And I tried it in middle school and high school and kind of just failed. And then my freshman year of undergrad, I was just like, screw it, I'm gonna do it. So I spent a summer and literally hand wrote the first draft. And after that, I was like, well, I can't stop here. So I just kind of kept going. And then I found I really, really enjoyed writing as much as I did reading. And then other ideas happened and other characters happened, and they don't shut up unless I write them now. So kind of don't get a choice in the matter.
They don't shut up unless you write them. I get that. My real job is I'm a performer. And if the ideas I have don't go into the world, it doesn't work, which is why I'm doing this. So in the book, we obviously have the main characters and the side characters. I don't want you to pick the main character, because the main character, whoop-de-doo. Who's one of your favorite side characters you have in the book? And if you could expand their story, how would you do it?
Oh, that's so easy. So my favorite side character is Waylon, and he is actually another person from our non-magical world. And he kind of ends up over there as a blacksmith, and he's just very grumpy, and he's just like, I don't want nothing to do with this. Leave me alone. And he keeps getting dragged into it. And then, of course, because he has his own way of doing things, I'll have a whole set course. And then I'm like, cool, go do it. And he's just like, no, I'm going to go the other way. And you're just like, no. So that's kind of how Waylon is. So I really enjoy writing him because I never know what's going to happen. And I actually tried to give him more of a side story by giving him a connection to my main character. And he completely threw it in my face and said, no. I have no desire to be a main character. Please don't. So I did try, and he said no. But
so you talk about these characters almost as if they have become children in your mind of who you are, if that makes sense. Not necessarily children, but kind of accomplices to your own stuff that you do. So when you're, I apologize, my brain went 47 different directions. I'm very, very sorry.
it's fine. It happens to me all the time.
When you go about writing, do you set out a story beforehand of where you want to get to, or is it completely and totally brain dump onto the page? Does that make sense? Do you have a beginning and an end, and you just have to fill in the middle?
So I'm kind of like that. So like for the first book, it'd been bedtime stories for so long, I kind of knew my beginning and end, and then everything in the middle was just it'll happen. And then with the second book, it was I tried to do that and it kind of failed, so I actually had to outline. And then I'm on a completely different project involving Greek mythology, and that one kind of was already written out for me, so I just had to figure out chronologically how I wanted things to go, and that's just okay. We'll see how it goes. So I'm kind of a mix. I'm not your average writer.
Well, no, it makes sense, because one of the things I do sometimes is I write stories, and I always have a beginning, but I never have an end, and I get where I need to go eventually. I'm not published like you. You're an actual published author, everybody. So I do short interviews, and I love talking to real human beings. And what actually led you on the journey to become a writer in the first place?
More so just wanting to do it for myself. Again, it was, I'd had the idea for so long. I tried to write it, really kind of wasn't able to, and then just, I'm going to do it. So that's kind of my journey. And then it was, my parents would read it, and they read one of the later drafts, and they just kind of came back and said, "Are you sure you wrote this? Like, this isn't you. What?" And then so they were really the ones who kind of pushed me, like, "You should totally publish this. This is phenomenal. Like, do it. What was the point of writing it otherwise?" So
that makes perfect sense. So because we did a surprise interview today, I've actually given you a shorter time frame than everybody else's story. And my other person just messaged me, and they've showed up too. So I want to make everybody happy. Where can people go to buy your book?
Cool. So that's a great question. And they can actually go to Amazon. You can buy it in paperback. And if you get a bit of sticker shock from it, because it is a very, very long book. So
show them the book. Show them the book. Like,
okay. So this is
a Robert Jordan size book here. It's probably 800.
Yeah.
Probably 8. How many? 6?
About 600 pages. It's about 170,000 words. So it's big. So it costs a lot to print. So costs a lot to sell. But again, if you don't want to spend that, it is in the ebook for $4.99. So there are options available.
So here's the thing, everybody. You might not know a lot about publishing, but the average book is 80,000 words, like the average little novel that you get. So you're getting 2 books in 2 1/10 of a book. Yeah. So it's well worth whatever you got to pay for it. I'll tell you that. Can you tell I'm an old salesman yet?
And it is also on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have that, that's another great way you can read my book.
And here's the beauty about buying Haley's book. You're supporting a real author, not somebody who's a huge author that's going to sell 10 million books, although hopefully she does in her lifetime.
Crossing those fingers.
But she's in the very beginning stages of her authorhood. So go there, buy her book, and make her happy. Last question I ask absolutely everybody is, we've already given the information where people can get it. What is one thing you've done today, other than this interview, that has made you happy? Not anybody else, just you.
I pet my cat. I got to hold him and snuggle him.
I'm not going anywhere with that.
No, my actual cat, his name is Jafar. He's a big stuffed ball.
You got exactly where I went with that. You're a weird pervert too. I do apologize.
Hey, my mind doesn't live in the gutter. It owns it, okay?
I'm sorry, ladies. We lost one viewer because of that.
Oh, no.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, please go buy Haley's book. My name is Jesse Lewis. Haley, we end the show like this. Wave to everybody and say bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you for watching.